This video is a little bit different than what I typically do. So I went to this Fun Tennessee event and I took video as they were talking, explaining. So this is just kind of piecing together my thoughts about it, as well as some of the video that I took as they were presenting about this new initiative and this new money for small business owners and entrepreneurs in Tennessee. So I know it may be a little bit scattered, but overall the goal is to just give you some more knowledge about Fun Tennessee and kind of give you direction about where to go if this is something you're interested to learn more about.
First will be to identify gaps if they exist in the capital continuum, and then work with capital providers to make sure that we are addressing any of those shortfalls that are here. The second is actually going to be developing a program
here in this community. Nancy and the Knoxville Chamber, thank you for your support putting this together. This is fabulous. I've never been here. It's a nice venue. Is a true asset. I'm really glad that they're going to be doing that here. What you're going to hear is a lot of information. There's no expectation you walk out of here and know exactly what we've outlined, because it's still a work in progress in terms of the operational components of it. It's not up and running yet. So it's not as if you can talk to somebody after this and say, okay, I'm ready to go, where do I go? We need time. We just got the announcement from the federal government. We wanted to get out as soon as we could and let you know what it is. And what we would ask you to do is we have a website that's up and running now called funtennessee.org. If you go to that, put your contact information in there, you're in our system, and we can start pushing information out to you as it becomes available real time.
And we are certainly not supposed to play favorites, and we never do, but I have to say, some of my favorite collaborators are here in Knoxville, and so it is truly always a pleasure to be here. Jim Biggs and his team at KEC have been fabulous partners, as well as Maha with UT Research Foundation, Tom Rogers with the Spark Center in Cherokee Park, and of course, Tom Ballard with PYA, who also serves as a Launch Tennessee board member and has been someone I have really appreciated advisement from over the years. So it is just very exciting to be with you guys this morning. So at Launch Tennessee, we're really focused on three things in our effort to support innovation and entrepreneurship. The first of which is connections. So you all heard from Jim Biggs this morning. Hopefully you have all met Jim, his colleague Chris in the back, who runs a great podcast. Shout out to the podcast. But they really serve as a hub for entrepreneurship in this region, and they are also going to be playing a pivotal role in InvestTN, which Monique Villa, my colleague, our Chief Investment Officer, will get into the details of that in a minute. But they truly serve as a hub here, and they are going to play quite a pivotal role in unlocking some seed dollars for this region. We also produce 3686. If anybody has been able to attend before, it is a tech, entrepreneurship, and innovation conference we hold annually in Nashville. It will be in September this year, and last year we brought in 227 billion, so billion with a B, assets under management into Tennessee. So some Tennessee dollars, a lot of out-of-state dollars to meet with entrepreneurs and innovators from all over the state to say, hey, there are great companies here in Tennessee, there are great opportunities for you. And so want to make sure everybody in this room is aware as you think about your plans for the year and when we might be able to see you in Nashville and host you there. The second thing that we're focused on is commercialization. So we have some amazing research assets in this state, particularly here in the East Tennessee region with UT, UTRF, our friends and partners at Oak Ridge National Lab, particularly Innovation Crossroads, how do we get these technologies out of university, out of lab, and into market where they can stand up amazing companies? And that has been happening here in the Knoxville region. I know we've had the pleasure of working with Sky Nano and some additional companies through our SBIR matching program, as well as through our other investment vehicles. In addition to those research assets though, even if you're not a researcher at a university, you could be working on a really cool product, a really cool company, and we want to see you spin that out and build that up and make that amazing. And that's what we're focused on at Launch. It's certainly what Jim and his team are focused on here. And last but not least, the 3C, if you're keeping track, so connections, commercialization. The reason that we're all here today, access to capital. So as the commissioner stated, capital is integral to growing businesses here across the state. It's certainly integral to growing businesses here in the East Tennessee region. So this $117 million that's coming into the state, both for the debt program and the equity program, which is what we're focused on here at Launch Tennessee, truly can be life-changing. This is capital that does require a matching component. So you're not even just looking at $117 million, you're really looking at minimum of double that of dollars coming off the sidelines and going into companies to help them grow and scale. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lamont Price from TNECD, who is going to lead you through some of the details of the program.
So I'm not going to even ask you to show your hands if you knew that there was a 1.0. Because now we're in 2.0, and that's why we're here to talk about 2.0. So what Treasury did is allocated $10 billion down to the states, and based on Tennessee's unemployment figures, we were effectively allotted $117 million in capital. And a good chunk of it was based on our unemployment figures through the pandemic, which, thanks to our governor's leadership, other states got more money because they had higher unemployment figures. So kudos to our leadership here in Tennessee. But we also got additional allocations of capital that dealt with very small businesses, which is defined as businesses with fewer than 10 employees. And we also have a SEDI allocation, which stands for socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And we'll talk about that definition here shortly. So we have capital on the debt and the equity side, as the commissioner mentioned. This is not a grant program. These are true debt instruments that will be allocated out based on the financial entities that we're going to be partnering with, based on their underwriting, or basically based on their underwriting. And these are true equity investments as well, based on due diligence that Launch Tennessee will provide. So I just want to get that and make sure folks understand this is not a grant program. Financial institution investment area, which is essentially a low-income census tract, a low to moderate income census tract. You can receive the designation as a SEDI-owned business. If your business enterprise certifies that it will build and open and operate in a CDFI investment area, you would get that designation as well. 52% SEDI target. What does that mean? Of the $117 million that we have, 52% of it has to go to SEDI-owned businesses. That is a must. And so having a program like this, where we're talking about the marketing, talking about folks understanding the capital, this is one of the biggest lifts that we have to let our community members, our entrepreneurs, our small business owners know about this program. And I think Jim touched on a couple of different things that are going to be key. Who are going to be the connectors? Who are going to be the champions to pull entrepreneurs, small business owners, entrepreneur support organizations to talk about how to best educate and inform and help our small businesses and entrepreneurs?
MBI is a minority depository institution. And with those groups, that is who the loans are going to come out through across the state. And this program is statewide, from the most rural to the most urban. And the idea here is that we are providing access to capital, and especially in areas where there has been a gap or a lack for various reasons. So as far as the different loan programs go, they're both considered loan participation programs. And on Lamont's comment at the end there about the match, the direct loan program is where the CDFI gets dollars privately from some other lender. So it could be another CDFI, it could be a regional bank, it could be a traditional financial institution. So it can be a variety of sources in that vein.
It's nice to see some familiar faces in the crowd. It's also a treat to be in such a beautiful space, and the weather looks nice, and it's the right environment. Last week we faced a lot of rain on our tour, and it made for an interesting experience. So today I have the honor and privilege of presenting InvestTN. So this is the set of equity programs that Launch Tennessee will be leading moving forward. And as part of that, I wanted to touch a little bit on my own background. So I've worked for 3 different venture capital firms in my career, all of which are aligned in terms of the stage of investment that we're focused on. Earliest stage, so pre-seed, seed, Series A, and then also focused on really emerging ecosystems. So one fund I worked for was focused on emerging markets. Another was explicitly looking for investments that enabled the American dream, so financial services and fintech products that would make it easier for upward mobility. And then more recently investing outside of Silicon Valley. So I feel very personally mission aligned with our mandates with this program. There are 3 different components to the program, so I will do my best to provide the overview here today. You can imagine there are quite a few nuances associated with this program. The first of which is called the Regional Seed Fund. So this is really meant to be pre-seed and seed stage capital, earliest stages of companies' development. For those of you who might be new to some of this language, it really is everything from the ideation phase of a business through some of the early traction. So we are looking for companies with the support of our network of regional entrepreneur centers. So here, the KEC, we will be working really closely with Jim and his team to help identify companies from this region that could qualify for an investment. These are $25,000 to $250,000 checks initially. We do have capital reserved for follow-on investment, so if the company continues to perform and hit milestones, we will be able to continue investing in those companies. We're targeting in total across the program's life 120 investments. So this is an impactful program for Tennessee, and we are charged with making sure that we're touching all 95 counties of the state. So we want to connect with entrepreneurs. And that really requires that we spend time out in the market meeting people. So my team, specifically on the capital side, but also the Launch Tennessee team more broadly, is really invested in hopping on the road and coming out and meeting with people and learning about what they're building. Another component that I wanted to touch on for this particular program is that this represents a total $28 million towards the total $70 million that we'll be investing out of the InvestTN fund. So this is a meaningful commitment out of that $70 million. And again, we believe that there are companies that are being built all across the state that would support this broader, what we're calling the capital continuum for Tennessee. And it's critical that we meet entrepreneurs in the earliest days of company building. The next piece I'll talk about is the technology fund. This is $30 million of that total $70 million that we'll be managing. And these checks are $250,000 to $3 million initially. These can be sourced again all across the state. And we are looking to make about 2 to 3 of these investments each year. So in terms of investment pacing, that will end up totaling a portfolio of about 20 companies. This is something where, again, we have an opportunity to really make an impact in Tennessee, and that we can also lead deals. So for those of you who are not familiar with what that means, this means that instead of just participating in an investment round, we have the ability to work with the entrepreneur to set the terms for the round. This is something that we've identified is a need in our state, and there are a number of entrepreneurs who set out to fundraise maybe are able to get commitments but have trouble identifying who that lead investor will be. So we think that's a great feature to this program. It's not a requirement, but it's something that we can offer if the deal in question would benefit from us stepping in as the lead investor. In terms of stage, this is seed, Series A, and Series B in some cases. So SSBCI, the program from US Treasury, does require that we don't invest in transactions that are larger than $20 million. So we feel that Series B will probably be the latest that we could come in, depending on the round size. But these are companies that are likely in market, have traction, and are looking for capital to help grow the business. And something that Commissioner McWhorter mentioned on one of our prior events last week that really resonated and we connected on after was the fact that it's hard to raise capital and it's easy to spend it. And so this stage becomes incredibly critical that we are evaluating what is the plan for these dollars, what is the viability of this business, and also do you have the support around you to be successful. So that is the technology fund. The last component here is the multi-fund, which for those of you who are familiar, it's a fund-to-funds model. So we'll be investing in venture capital funds across the state. The goal here is to help seed the creation of additional venture capital funds so that founders have more options. And this is a critical piece again to that continuous continuum of capital, as we're saying. These are $1 to $3 million investments that we can make, or capital commitments as a limited partner into venture funds. This totals $12 million over the life cycle of the program. We're expecting to make around 4 to 6 of these commitments, but the key piece here is that we want to be an anchor investor in the first closing of a new fund. So this is not about being in Nashville just because I might be in Nashville, a good chunk of the time. This is about us coming to you and coming to entrepreneurs and making sure that you truly do have access to capital. And wanted to again highlight that the $28 million group having access to up to $4 million to support their local entrepreneurs. Again, that comment that it's hard to raise and easy to spend. There are 3 components that we're launching as part of our capital efforts to make sure that founders have access to resources that they need. The first one is, to give an overview too, we're thinking about this as a platform strategy. So if you're familiar with venture capital, it's become table stakes that venture capital funds offer more than just capital. And that is to help protect their investments, help to support the success of those companies. So the first area that we're focused on is talent. So we currently have a summer internship program for undergrad and graduate students to get paid internships at startups, venture capital funds, and in our regional entrepreneur centers. So we're looking to expand that to also help connect our network of companies to C-suite executives, potential board members, all across the state. And this is something that I'm sure you've seen here. There are entrepreneurs maybe building here, but the expert might be a town away or maybe on the other side of the state, maybe open to relocating, maybe not, but we can really play that role to help connect to talent of all levels. The second piece is around a co-investor network. So as has been mentioned, there's a 1-to-1 private capital match in order for our funds to be fully available once we've made that investment commitment. So we are building out a Tennessee-wide and also a national network of active capital in the form of venture capital funds, angel investors, etc. So that applies for both our startups and our venture funds. We're also building out a network of limited partners. We kicked off some programming for institutional limited partners during 3686 this past year. Commissioner gave some opening remarks at that. And so we're really invested in helping support the success of the people that we're backing and connecting them to capital. The last piece is around expertise, so having a statewide expert network. So these are operators and people with expertise in lots of different industries who ideally can provide a good answer to a hard question as soon as possible, because as you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you need that. You're executing. You need to be able to have ideally good answers to your very specific question. So that's something that we're committed to building out as well and making it available to our portfolio companies. And last but not least, we're building out and about to launch our perks database. So these are discounts for software tools and services, again, made available to our portfolio, cloud credits, etc. So yeah, for us, this is more than just, hey, let's invest this capital per the guidelines. We want companies to be successful, and we want to ideally shorten that timeline between launching the company and having access to the things that you need, no matter the stage of your company.
On the lending side, 47 million of the 117 million is for lending, and then of the remaining 70 million, that is all for the equity side, the investment piece, which I think was pretty cool too. So the idea, just in general in all of this, something that they mentioned is that the whole goal of Fund Tennessee is to support and expand an inclusive continuum of access to capital for small businesses and entrepreneurs throughout Tennessee. And so just think about this for a second. So 117 million, there's 95 counties within Tennessee. So the goal is to support and help as many small businesses as possible. So it's just kind of an interesting new thing that is going to be available for entrepreneurs in the area, small businesses. Some of the questions at the end, somebody asked that, like, he's a Tennessee business, but he has employees overseas, and so his question was, like, could he use this funding for some of his people overseas? And the answer seems like yes. Again, this is all new, but she did say that there are some stipulations on that, so that would obviously be a case-by-case basis. Someone else asked, how would I get involved? I went onto the website, and so go to the fundtennessee.org, and you can get on their email list, and they will send you updates when you need to know if there's events or if there's applications open. So pretty much that's your best place to go at this point, is fundtennessee.org for more information. And then those were kind of the big major questions. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything else. Also about this, I want to read you something from one of my notes from today, or from this when I went to this thing, that I thought was so interesting. So when someone asked that question about like if they have international employees or whatever, blah, 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 and it just tells you like how things work. I just think this is so fascinating. But this is such on the new end of things. Like, this is really just the beginning of what Fund Tennessee is going to be. One of the people from Launch Tennessee mentioned that, she said, they're still working on the definition of Tennessee located. So even that idea of what Tennessee located means for small businesses is still a work in progress. They're still working on it. So this Fund Tennessee thing is certainly in the beginning stages. Literally 8 days ago, Tennessee found out that they were getting these funds. So just kind of keep that in mind when you think about this program. Definitely go to fundtennessee.org. Like I said, so it's great to know that, the Tennessee is wanting to foster small businesses, wanting to foster businesses who might not have capital accessible otherwise. I think the equity piece is cool. They even talked about doing some like classes not classes, but workshops for people that maybe could be investors, but maybe this debunking of what angel investing is, what venture capitalism is, what that looks like. So I thought that was cool too, because in my mind, I'm like, wow, that's, whatever. And he said that part of it's just an education problem. So, some cool stuff going on for sure. So anyhow, go to fundtennessee.org, go check it out. Like I said, there's 3 different parts, and yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you are a small business owner in Tennessee, or if you're thinking of moving here, is funding for your business something that you consider? Would you move based on funding available in a state? I'm just curious. So anyhow, that being said, I will see you on the next video.